Hey, yo, hey. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you guys why I wholeheartedly believe that Nicole Kessinger, sorry, trying to get straight here, why I believe that Nicole Kessinger was in the house the night that Shanann came home from her business trip in Scottsdale, Arizona, okay? Now, this was on August 13th of 2018 that she came home from her business trip, okay? Now, you remember the neighbor Nate's, I believe it was his doorbell camera that caught everything. So, on his, not only with the neighbor, but let's start with Nate. Not only was he showing the police that the cameras could see from across the street, down the street this way, and down the street this way, okay? In front of the house, the side of the house, all the way out to the front of his street, because then right there, it blocks with his house, okay? You can see that clearly. Now, if you remember, when Nate goes to look for when Shanann comes home, he can see the driveway when Chris pulls his truck into the driveway to back up into the garage, right? Okay. Now, he had to go and find that footage, and if you remember right, he shows where headlights would have been coming or going. Okay? Now, he never caught nothing else on his camera. But the neighbor said that she went out at 5 in the morning. Okay? 5 o'clock in the morning. Shanann got home at 1:48. 1:48 is when her doorbell camera picked her up, stepping onto the porch, putting in her code, going in the door. Okay? That's at 2 o'clock in the morning. Alright? Now, I believe that she was already at the house because when the neighbor comes out at 5 o'clock in the morning, she's seen that the truck was already there. She stated to police, well, I thought that that's why you guys was coming to talk to me. I figured that maybe people was making complaints about the vehicle being there. What vehicle? The darker gray truck that has never been there before. Okay, well, that's 5 o'clock in the morning. Shanann gets home at 2. That's only 3 hours in between. So, don't you think that Nate, being that he went back and he looked at all of the footage to see if there was any more headlights coming or going or whatever from the time that Shanann come home at 1:48 in the morning is when Nikki, her friend Nikki, Nicole Atkinson, dropped her off, was pulling out of the driveway, watched her go into the house. When Shanann was in the house safely is when Nicole Atkinson decides to pull away from the house. She was a very, very great friend. She dropped her off. She made sure she got in. She checked on her the next morning, which is the one who called to do a well check on her anyways. Okay? But the reason that I believe that Nicole Kessinger was already in the house because neighbor Nate's cameras. First of all, the neighbor, second of all, and she seemed to be very observant because she knew exactly when she seen Shanann last. She knew exactly when she seen them babies playing outside last. She knew exactly when Shanann's dad was there last. She knew that the parents lived with them up to a certain point. She knew Like, she knew. Maybe she was the nosy old lady that knew everything in the neighborhood, but thank God for her being nosy, because we would have never knew that she seen Nikki's truck sitting outside the Watts' house. Now, I don't know if she parked. I doubt she parked in front of Chris's truck, because Shanann would have noticed something pulling up. And there would have been a little more than just her getting out and going up to the house and going in. You know what I mean? So I believe that she parked behind Chris's truck, which was parked out on the street, because Shanann did not like when Chris pulled his truck into the driveway, because they had a very nice brand new paved driveway, and she did not want the oil leaking all over the place, because Chris Watts' truck had an oil leak. And he left very, very early in the morning, and the girls' bedroom was literally right over top of the garage. So she didn't want Chris starting the truck, pulling the truck in and out, waking the girls, oil everywhere, She had good reasons for the things that she was picky about, okay? She wasn't just picking with Chris to pick with Chris, okay? Anyway, I believe that she was there in the Watts house when Shanann came home. Because not only Nate's cameras, but the neighbor, okay? She was there. Chris himself said to his friend, Tolman, that he had to have help killing the girls because he couldn't kill those girls by himself. He couldn't bring himself to do that. But he was angry with Shanann. He was angry with Shanann because Shanann knew what was going on. Shanann knew that he was cheating. Shanann knew that the night that he went to the restaurant with Nicole Kessinger, that he bought dinner for more than just himself. She was already aware. She knew that things was not right. She was trying to repair her marriage, and that made him angry because he didn't want to repair it, no matter what he told her, because he told her that he would work on things. He told her that, they could mend the relationship, that they could do this, they could do that. The only thing was, Chris wasn't willing to go to counseling. But he still led his wife on. He could have just been honest with her, told her, and they could have went their separate ways. She did not deserve to lose her life because Chris wanted to get his freaking rocks off. Okay? So, those are the reasons that I believe Nicole Kessinger was already in the Watts' house when Shanann came home from her business trip in Arizona on August 13th in 2018. Shanann was unalived by her husband and by this evil, what Chris calls her, Jezebel. Those are my reasons. And I think they're very legitimate reasons. Other than the fact that I do believe Chris did tell his cellmate, Tolman, that she helped him. So, you guys tell me what you think. Tell me what else you want my opinion on with the Chris case. Well, not the Chris case. This is Shanann's case, because that was her life. This is Cece's case. This is Bella's case. This is Nico's case. Chris doesn't deserve anything in this case except for what he got. And he should have had so much more. But what can we do, guys? So, until next time,